Like I said, I can put my hands on him if I'm not trying to upper body pummel him right now. I can actually put my hands on the mat, and that's not a big deal. Like if he double underhooks me, he actually just attaches me to him in a position where he actually wants to be making space. So like at that point that he double unders me, I just go full pummel. I don't really give a fuck what he does with this because he can't do anything to really threaten me with those underhooks, okay? If he got both butterfly hooks back in play, that's the completely different story. I've made a mistake, okay? But one butterfly hook with underhooks is not generally super dangerous as long as I keep his hip pinned, all right? Now, the first couple of pummel passes we're gonna be looking for, okay? My goal is to get either my right or my left foot up on top of this top leg, okay? Sometimes it's really easy to do because their foot is dangling a little bit past your thigh, and I can just easily take my top foot here and circle it up on top of his foot, okay? That could be a little harder if he was keeping a little bit more pressure with his foot or maybe keeping it really tucked up into my leg, okay? So like right now, there's not really a lot of space for me to start pummeling there. So what I can do at this point, if he's just closing this off and I get no upper body stuff going, this is what I'm talking about. I'll take my hands, I'll lean forward, and I'll just put them on the mat, a little bit over his head, okay? Now, when I do this, I am taking a little bit of my weight distribution and allocating it to my upper body. Now, what this means is it's gonna be a little easier for him to lift my hips. So to counter that, that's when I'm gonna start taking my right foot, okay? And I'm gonna start to actually lift myself off the mat and drive my foot down into his leg, okay? And if it gave me a little bit of space, that's when I'm really gonna start focusing on hooking my foot underneath his leg a little bit. So that when he does try to start lifting me up, I'm not just getting flung around. I'll lift my hips off the mat a little bit, but that's okay. What wouldn't be okay is me not controlling the position, but just lift me way up. Like something like that, you see I almost lost my balance for a second? Like my weight shifted from my hips to my upper body. That would be when I would run into problems, all right? So again, this is like a pressure, it's a floating position, but it's also a pressure position. Okay, and the pressure is just my weight distribution for the most part until I'm squeezing something. So if I'm trying to hook his leg and I can't get anything going because it's too shallow, I'll go here, drop my weight on my hips. Okay, really make sure you sink in. Make sure you're using your right foot to pin that leg down. It's very, very important. Okay, now I can lean forward a little bit just to get a different angle of my hips. Okay, I'm still trying to put a lot of weight down on his legs, but when I start to come forward like this, like try to hide your foot a little bit. Like it's pretty hidden right now. It just doesn't matter because you see when I go forward, it exposes it, and you can't really follow me that far above your head. So if they were doing a really, really good job of hiding their foot from this position, I can't get on top of it. I'll go forward, then I'll lift my foot up. Okay. Now the first pass we're going to do is an inside pummel pass. So when I circle this foot up on top of his leg, what I'm actually going to do is take my leg that's now on top and start to push his leg out of position here. And you see my knee is about to clear his knee. What I want to make sure I do is sink it underneath his leg, okay? And now I'm in like the most dominant inside pummel position you can get, okay? And what I like to do from here is I take that leg that's now on the inside and I walk my leg up a little bit so that I can trap his flexibility, okay? So the same thing I do from like leg leaves and stuff. I go until I feel resistance and he can no longer retract his leg on his own, okay? Now I know that this leg is stuck and completely out of play. My next goal is to just keep his legs split open. Okay, I don't want to let him close half guard yet. I want to get a full pass off of this. Like forcing half guard is actually a good idea on a lot of high level guys because I can put a lot more pressure down. He has less offensive options if they're good open guard players. But I don't really want to let him get half guard if I can just get a full pass right now. So I'm making sure that I'm leaning on my left hip and opening his hips up while this right leg is really keeping this leg pinned down. I don't want him to slip past me and lock his legs up in half guard, and I don't want him to brute force his way back in and close this off. Okay. Now to finish the pass, it's really, really easy. All I've got to do is a little bit of a foot replacement, okay? I'm going to take my left foot and windshield wiper it to the inside of his thigh, okay? If you guys can't see, okay, just kind of like walk around and get a better angle. But like my left foot is now just going to put itself on the outside of his inner thigh here, okay? Because now I can move my right leg away and there's just literally nothing he can do. He would have to push me away with his upper body, but I can just sink down because he doesn't have a good angle, all right? They might close their leg on your knee, okay? Sometimes I do the replacement really quickly and they think that they're catching half guard. Okay, you can see the confusion in their eyes. Where Because go ahead, squeeze it as much as you can. All I have to do is just straighten my leg a little bit, and he's just holding on the top of my kneecap. He has nothing to actually latch onto. And then you're in side control, and that's when you make eye contact. It's the most important part of most of the things you do. So, to recap, like I said, I'm coming in. I would rather pummel from here, okay? And the more you play this position, the more comfortable you'll get pummeling from crazy angles and all that. But for the most part, because I'm just trying to get here, okay? And like I said, if I'm really struggling to get that foot on top of his foot, I'll just come forward and sink down and make sure I pin his hips. Now I can lean forward a little bit while trying to keep my weight down on his hips. And that angle change lets me just easily pummel on top of his leg. Okay? Now I can flick myself to the inside, and now I really sink down. I sink down, I walk my leg up, and I make him do the splits. Now I just replace my foot with a little windshield wiper. And you see my knee doesn't really move when I do this. My knee is still keeping his legs split open. Now I go here, okay? And now all I have to do is move my right foot and straighten my left leg. And that's it. He might still bridge into me. He might go crazy. I might have an underhook while I do all of this to begin with, okay? And I don't have to worry. But if he just bridges into me as hard as he can, you just go straight in the unbelly. Like, you don't worry about trying to come down and pummel his upper body, because if he turns into me as much as he can at this point, I can just windshield wiper to the other side. It's not a big deal, okay? But I don't want to let him pull me into half guard. So, any questions on this inside pummel? All right, one more time, maybe? All right. So let me change the angle so you can see different angles. So I pin it down, okay? I might be on the mat like this, I might be up here. All I'm doing is circling my left foot on top, flicking myself to the inside, then I sink, and now I replace my foot, and that's what I consider the full pass, because no one gets away from this. Okay, otherwise, I just take my left foot, start to straighten my legs, and there's my pass. If he turns into me too much, you just knee on belly to stabilize the position. And if he really goes crazy bridging, you just windshield wiper to the other side. And now he can't. Now he's turned away from me. There's not really much he can do. So, okay. So, go play.